on. Hit the button. Hello, Luann. How are you? How are you doing? Looking at pictures. Oh my God, old pictures. Wow. Kevin, how are you? Kathy, hello. Brent, hello. Good evening. Sunday night in hot New Jersey. Hello, David. How are you? Lori Brown, how you doing? Maria, hey to you as well. How is everyone? Is it hot as hell where you are too? Hey, Deb. Deb, thank you for the SLS, by the way. It's a new piece of equipment added to a whole bunch over there that I already have that I don't have room for. But thank you for that. Annette, how are you? Dana, 84. Yeah, it is hot, hot, hot here in Jersey. Hey, Jay. Jay, how are you? Anna, how you doing? Laura, Scott. So, back from our trip, we went this weekend to Waynesboro. Waynesboro, party time, excellent. I don't know if you guys saw the video. It was part of the craziness that was our weekend. Hey, Christopher, Brenda, at Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. We had planned this get together for us. Going to be supposed to be just three couples that we've been friends for a long time. We're all into the paranormal. We all do different things in the paranormal. And hey, Janet, Lewis, and we planned on getting together for a while just to get together. And we all at Gettysburg, the 1912 Hoover House, which is where we were. Belonged to a family, and then it was an assisted living, and it was also a restaurant. And when it belonged to a family, it was the Hoover House, and two members of the Hoover family died in the one room that we were in the whole weekend. They, so it's haunted, and big, beautiful building. Old but just beautiful, beautiful building. So we had planned to go there and spend the weekend. Waynesboro is about 25 minutes from Gettysburg. So we knew that we'd be going to Gettysburg and hanging out too together. So we made a weekend of it. Chris and I got there Friday around 6:30. We got there, and traffic. Those were when those thunderstorms were coming through that were really bad. We were caught right in the middle of that, and it took us 4.5 hours. What would normally take us 3 hours. So we were stuck in that traffic for a good long time, and then we finally got there, and the weather was great, and we hung out at the Hoover House. Never met Pam and Steve. They own the Hoover House. They also run the Battlefield Bash, which is an event that they do that has paranormal people at the event. There's some Dave Schrader's going to be there. There's some people from TV there. There's different paranormal groups there. It's for Wounded Warriors, Pennsylvania Wounded Warriors. That's what it benefits. A lot of people, good time. It's just a good hangout over the weekend in August, and we have a great time there. And Pam and Steve are our friends, so we always support them. And this is their new place, and we're probably going to do an event there around Christmas time. We're thinking Gettysburg has this whole thing that they do downtown where they dress the town up with lights and everything, and they have different things going on different streets. And we were kind of planning on maybe doing an event at the Hoover House, which is again 20 minutes away from Gettysburg, maybe that weekend, where we do a big ghost hunt. People could book the rooms and stay there if they want. I think it'll be cool. We did it at their old place, and I think it's about time to do it at the new place. So lots of room in that building. I have a video that I'm going to post later on, maybe, of kind of a quick walkthrough of the building. There's a basement, a first floor, a second floor, and a third floor. So there's a lot of room there to ghost hunt. And we were, like I said, Friday night we got there. We were tired, but it was 6:30, and we got there late. Then we went out to dinner and we just hung out. They have a big, beautiful porch. We hung out on the porch with a bunch of people just talking about anything and everything, and went to bed in that room. That yeah, Kevin, I know you've been there too. We went to bed in the Holzer room. The Holzer room is a big, beautiful room that has, it's like a library too. It's got all these books and these beautiful cases. And they kept telling us this is the most haunted room in the place. I know the basement's active too. So we, of course, we've been in a million places. So for us, it's like you tell us that, and we're like, okay, we'll wait to see what happens here, you know. And we were tired. So the first night, even if it did happen, we probably didn't know because we didn't get up to bed till probably 1 o'clock. And so Saturday is when Bob and Gina arrived, and it was us together. And we went downtown Gettysburg because they were having this. I didn't even know they were having this huge flea market. It was like the whole downtown area. There were vendors everywhere, but it was hot, man. It was hot. I know it was hot here in Jersey, and it was hot there too. And we're just walking around, and you knew it was going to be a weird weekend because we're walking downtown Gettysburg. And if you've never been to Gettysburg, you'll love it. If you're into the paranormal, you will love Gettysburg. I've been going to Gettysburg for over 20 years. I never get tired of it. Never get tired of it. So go check out Gettysburg if you haven't yet. Battlefield, awesome. So we're walking around the five of us because Pam wasn't there. And Pam and Steve also own the Gettysburg Ghost Exchange, which they sell paranormal equipment. So Pam was at the store. It was me, Steve, Chris, Bob, and Gina. And we're just walking around looking at the vendors. And out of nowhere, I mean, just random, this woman comes over with one of those like straw type of hat. I don't even know how to describe it. Like a flower on it. And she had a sundress on with flowers on it. And she was older, gray hair, kind of shoulder length, glasses on. And we're sitting in the shade, and we finally found a place that just sold bottled water. So we're sitting in the shade. We're kind of watching the people shopping. We're drinking our bottled water, and there's five of us there. This woman signals out this guy, Bob, and walks over to him, and she's looking right at him, and we're like, who is this lady, and what's she going to do? And she says to Bob, can I pray for you? And we're like, we're on the bench, and we're on a little, cement, landing. And we're kind of looking over there like, we're thinking, what does this mean? So Bob says, okay, and Bob's smoking a cigar. He likes to smoke cigars. So he's smoking the cigar. And she goes into this prayer. And it goes on and on and on and on. It was almost a 15-minute whatever she was doing. And she's looking at him the whole time. So he can't really look away or talk to us. And we're looking at him. We're watching the people go by, and she's still going. And then she finally stopped. And, he's nice. Thank you. We watch her walk away, and we're looking at him like, what the hell? What was that about? And he's like, I don't know. She just walked up to me and said, can I pray for you? So then we watch her go to this family. It was a mother, two kids, and I guess the husband, the father, whatever. And she literally walked up to them, and she said the same thing. She was with them for no lie, less than a minute. She kneeled there, she bowed her head, quick prayer, walked away. So we thought that was weird. We continue on, and we cross the street, and now here she is again. Kind of, there he is. Steve is here. Steve, you missed all that, man. Steve Barry's on right now, who is one of the owners of the 1912 Hoover House in Waynesboro, and also one of the owners of the Gettysburg Ghost Exchange. Steve was across the street buying something else, so he wasn't there for this. So we're across the street, and we're walking up the road a little bit, and here she is again. And she literally walks and finds Bob again and points at him and like looks at him. She had such a serious look on her face, and she goes, God, something other or other. And then she said, that message was meant for you. It was meant for you. And he's again trying to be polite. He's like, okay, thank you. And she stood there for a little while, and nobody was saying anything. And then she crossed the street, and she went over to where the actual cigar store was. I don't know if she had something against cigars and he was smoking one, because she stayed over there for a while, I guess, lecturing people. And all I could think of was maybe she wasn't real. Maybe she was the spirit of a woman that was married to the cigar store owner at one time, and he smoked too many cigars and died, and she's haunting the area. Maybe it was like the weirdest thing, just out of the blue. And I've been there, Gettysburg, many, many, many times, and I've never seen that. So that started the weirdness, and it only got weirder from there. Chris is here, by the way, in case you're wondering. She's just in the other room relaxing. She's kind of tired and beat up from the trip. So she won't talk to anybody anymore unless they're a celebrity. She was on for Dave Schrader. She'll be here tomorrow for John Zaffis. So when it's just me, she's too good for the rest of us. So she's not here. But speaking of Dave Schrader, that was a pretty good interview. We didn't get a chance to talk to you guys. Harmony, how you doing? We didn't get a chance to talk to you guys since then. I went back and watched part of that interview, and I talked to Dave after the interview. And, we started our own cable access show probably, I don't know, 3 years ago now, maybe a little longer. And we started interviewing people. It was a half-hour interview, and I thought I was okay at doing it. And then when the pandemic happened and we started doing this, I thought I was starting to get better at it, and I thought, I'm getting pretty good at this interviewing stuff. People are saying that they like it and all this other stuff. Great interview. And then he came on, and he's been doing radio shows for a really long time and interviewing people for a really long time. And if you watch that interview again, he's just a consummate professional. I mean, his storytelling ability, his joking, the way he weaves in the promotional stuff. I mean, I think, for me who likes to talk, I think I talked probably a total of 5 minutes during that hour. And I was having just as much a good time listening as you guys were. I mean, he was really, really good. Better than I thought he would be. I mean, he was one of those guys where I thought we were going to talk more about the show. I thought we were going to talk more about being on Ghost Adventures and that stuff. But no, he was pretty damn good. He was very good. So I enjoyed that. I told him as much, and I told him it was like, he was Yoda, and I was, some little, wannabe Jedi, but he was great, but there were some things that we talked about that were a little sketchy, and that's a good thing about interviewing people and talking to people that have different ideals and ideals than you, because sometimes you go, okay, I get where you're coming from, but but that was a great interview. Yeah, and he and what a voice. You're right, Luann. Oh my God, I was like, I listen to me. I hate watching anything that I'm in, and I rarely watch these things ever. Do I watch them back, because I can't stand the sound of my voice. And so I don't really go back and watch the lives, because I really don't like to hear me, talk much. I'm just trying to do something real quick here. So anyway, so we go to Gettysburg, and we're downtown. That happens. We walk around for a while. We go get something to eat. Then we go back. Then we go back to the Hoover House, and where is it? I'm sorry, I'm looking for something right here. So I go back to the Hoover House, and there we go. Thanks for showing yourself there, Alex, again, because I couldn't find you to block you the first time. So thank you for that second comment because I just banned you. So you won't be showing yourself again on this page. That's what I was doing. I'm sorry if I seemed distracted because I saw what this jerk was writing and I had to get rid of him before he did any more damage. Anyway, so, we go back to the Hoover House and you could see the video. We're literally sitting there and, this is no alcohol. We're really, I'm not a drinker. Steve doesn't drink anymore because he has heart issues. So there really wasn't any alcohol that night going on. There were people that were there hanging out that are friends of Steve's and Pam's, but there was no alcohol. We were just like having a good time being around each other. So we go in Steve's car. Now, Steve has a really souped up Mustang that's a tribute car to 9/11. It's really cool. Great paint job. You should see it one time. I'll show a picture one day. But the car is a Mustang, an old Mustang, and this thing is fast, and this thing has power. So we go to a location that Steve wanted to show us, this building where they're going to be doing something, and we're there, and on the way back, we're kind of joking around that the town Waynesboro, it sounds like Wayne's World. So Bob and I are like talking to each other because we drove in the same car, and we're like, Waynesboro, we're doing that whole party time, excellent, and of course Chris is like, you guys should do that when we go back to the house and make a video. And we're like, we're not doing that. I'm 50 something, Bob's 50 something. We're like, we're grown men. We're not gonna do that. So we're hanging out and the night's going on. It's getting dark outside and everybody's having a good time. People are outside, people are inside. So, Chris and Gina, who's with Bob, they're like, "You gonna do that video?" We're like, "No, we're not doing that video. It's stupid. We were joking. We're not gonna do that." So they're like, "You gotta do the video." So we go by the fireplace and there's, the shovel thing and then there's the poker thing. And I find the shovel thing that looks like a guitar. So I'm like, all right, let's do it. So Bob and I sit on the couch and we're laughing before, like, we're not doing this. So Chris and Gina go in the other room and they're like, oh, we're going to act like we're talking and we're going to come in and then we're going to say, where's the Hoover House again? And you guys go into the Waynesboro. So they walk in and at first we're like, we're not doing it. It's stupid. We were joking. It was dumb. We're not doing it. And like, come on. Where are we? Where's this house? And then you see what you see there. And there's actually a take 2 of that because 2 more people came in and saw that we're watching what we did and they wanted to get into the band. And there's actually another version with a swing at the end that is must-see TV as well. So that show be showing its ugly head somewhere as well. But we had a good time. We hung out on, again, they have a huge porch. We hung out on there eating, talking, joking, and then we, of course, when you're in a haunted building, you have to do what? Say it with me. Ghost hunt. So we, at first, we were kind of watching table tipping. They do a lot of table tipping at that Hoover House. A lot of table tipping. Hey, Vicky, how are you? So we watched the table tipping session. We watched part of it. And, I have my issues with table tipping. I'm not going to go into them again, but they were doing that. They like to do that. They do it, their own way, and they enjoy doing it and claim to get really good results. So watched it for a while, hung out for a little while longer. And then we agreed to go into the basement to actually, and what's cool is, it sounds weird, but, most of the paranormal stuff, if not all of the paranormal stuff that we do, is with, Tanya, Kenny, and Chris. It's the 4 of us. We do everything together. When we go into a private investigation, it's us. When we do a public ghost hunt, it's us. When it's a live investigation, it's the 4 of us. So we really don't investigate with other people that much. And even though we've been doing it for years, we just don't, you know. So I've done it before, you know, a few times. We just did it at the Sterling Mine last month, but we didn't involve ourselves that much. So it was cool to be with those two other couples and a few other people and watch what they do and how they do it. I didn't engage. I engaged here and there, but Bob makes his own paranormal equipment. He sells his own paranormal equipment. Steve owns a store that sells a lot of different paranormal equipment. So they had their own gadgets. We didn't have to bring anything. You know, Chris brought a recorder with her just to record in our room because we had heard it was really haunted. But we just followed and did what they did, and we go down into the basement, and you know, they claim there's a spirit of a child down there, and you know, we're watching as they have the laser grid and they have this ball set up that they're trying to get the spirit to move, and they're doing an EVP session, and I believe one of the questions was, you know, how old was the boy down here? And it wasn't a child that responded, but it was a man who said, the boy's 7 years old, or he's 7 years old. And that was pretty cool, you know. And then we go, some people stayed in the basement, so we wanted separation. So we went all the way up to the third floor to be as far away from them as we can, because we want to do EVP stuff. And so we're up on the third floor and we're doing EVP stuff, and there is a door that goes, I guess there's a stairwell or something that leads to outside and down the stairs. And we did an EVP session knowing where that door went. And we said, where does this door lead? And it said out. And we were like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then the next thing you know, the elevator, they have an elevator, like a small elevator, you know, from way back in the day that you have to pull the gate. Next thing we know, you hear the elevator stop on our floor. And we thought it was probably Steve, you know, one of the owners. So Pam is with us at this point. She opens up the door. You know, it's a door you got to open like this. And she's like, Steve, is that you? And the elevator's empty and the light is on. Now, the only way that elevator can go anywhere is if, A, you call it, meaning if you're on the third floor and you call it, it'll come up to the third floor. So you have to call it from the third floor, or you have to be in the elevator and take it up to the third floor. That's it. The only two ways. So for that elevator to show up there and then be open and have the light on, bizarre. We were like, how in the hell did that elevator come up here? So we, of course, went back downstairs, asked anybody down there, you know, how did the elevator get there? And Pam knew that Pam, again, it's her place. She knew that there was only two ways, but she's like, Steve, explain to them. Did anybody here send that elevator up? And Steve's like, no, you can't. You have to be in it to send it up to the third floor. And we weren't anywhere near the elevator. Nobody was. We were in the corner of the basement. So that was really, really cool and really different. So then we go to the second floor, and we're in this back room where they do a lot of their table tipping. And we did some EVP stuff there. Didn't get a whole lot, but that's where I had done EVP sessions in the past, and something had cursed at me twice. So I tried to duplicate that by speaking to whoever that was, but not much. But again, we went from there to just hanging out. We went back on the porch, stayed out there talking to God, I don't know what time, you know. And here's another interesting thing that happened. In the Holzer file room where we're staying, that was the last place that we went, because I didn't know that two members of the Hoover family died in the same room, which was the room Chris and I were staying in. I didn't know that. So we said, let's go in that room and let's see if they're there and they'll talk to us. So we're all in our room that we're sleeping in. And I'm on the bed and I'm facing, you know, looking in that direction. Behind me there are a couple of windows, and the shade is pulled 95% of the way down. There's a little kind of gap. And there is light from the outside that kind of shines through that gap and casts a light on the wall, like a it's not a square. It's more like a half a quarter moon type of deal. And as we're talking, you know, your eyes fixate on something, and I'm looking at that light, and it blocked out twice. And again, we're on the second floor, and I'm like, yeah, you know, what would cause that? You know, and at first I'm not like not thinking of it. I just mentioned it twice, and then the third time, I saw what looked like a hand in that open of the light opening. It looked like fingers that were like this come into the light. And as I'm kind of squinting to stare at it, like, you know, I'm thinking, is that leaves or something from a tree? You know, and then I saw it looked like the hand straightened out like this and then slowly pulled out. And I said, wait a minute here. I'm like, gotta be a tree. Gotta be a tree. It's leaves. It was, you know, there was thunder and lightning last night. It didn't rain there, but there was wind, a little windy. So of course, I pull up the shade. I look out. We're all looking out because Steve's like, there's no trees there. There's no trees. I'm like, there's got to be. I pull up. I wish I had taken a picture of what it looked like. They're built. There's like an alleyway pretty far. And then you see the road that you can drive on to get behind their building. And then the other building is way over there. In between is nothing. It's just open space. No trees. Nothing would have cast a shadow like that. And then that. That was freaky, you know, and I wasn't the only one who saw it. There were two other people that saw it actually happen. So I was like, shoot, that's cool, man. That's cool. So we tried to get it to do it again and again, and nothing happened. But the whole entire night, because like I said, Chris and I slept in that room. So when we finally went back in our room and it's like 1:30 in the morning, we had been out all day. So we showered, we go back to the room, and the whole entire night, I'm literally like this. I'm propped up on the pillow. I'm staring at that light, that spot, and I'm just staring at it. Every time I would go to sleep, I'd wake up and I'd just stare at it. And I'd stare at it. And I'm like, come on, come on, come on, come on. It didn't happen. But, you know, you want it to happen so bad. And we've slept in haunted bed and breakfast. You going to join us or you going to go back? We've slept in haunted bed and breakfast before. I've had stuff happen during investigations there, but never like when I'm sleeping at night in the room or whatever room. And in that room, pretty much every night, Friday and Saturday, I don't sleep well. I wake up a lot during the night. I do. And every time you wake up, there's that little part of your brain that goes, you know, okay, Chris is sleeping. I'm awake. You know, let's see what's going on when it's really quiet. The entire place is settled. Everybody's sleeping. The lights are off. You know, let's just take a peek around and see what's going on, you know? And I kept doing that, you know, both nights. I would get up for a little while by myself and just listen and look and listen. Because that's the best thing to do. You know, you're alone now. And if it's going to happen, people see these shadow figures at night or whatever. I don't know what I would have done if a shadow figure had walked by in a room that we were in, or if, you know, something came flying off. I don't know what I would have done. But it is something you wouldn't be in that space if you didn't want it. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where careful what you wish for type of thing when you do stay in places that are like that, because let's face it, you're there because it's haunted. What happens if you get what you wanted and you've got all your stuff there, you know, your shampoo, toothbrush, toothpaste, your clothes, and if it's something really that freaks you out and you got to get out of that room, what are you going to do? You know, you're going to, you know, sleep downstairs or in your car until the morning and go get your stuff, you know? And that's like every place that claims to be haunted that, like mostly like hotels and stuff, or, you know, that like there's hotels and they're everywhere. There's hotels that have like a haunted room or like two haunted rooms with stories attached to them. And it's like the story's always the same. People are leaving in the middle of the night. You know, somebody was here last, and they tell you that as you're renting or you know reserving the room. Yeah, there was a couple here just 2 nights ago. You know, 3 o'clock in the morning, here they come. They're leaving in the middle of the night. You know, and again, it's one of those things that gets you so excited, and you sleep in that room, and you're like, nice room, you know, nice hotel, but you know, I don't know. You know, you wonder about stories, and that's one of the things we talked a lot about this weekend. Um, People have a habit of like regurgitating and retelling stories involving paranormal and spirits and the rumor or the story just because they've heard it. And it amazes me of how many people don't question, you know, the story. They just take it as gospel and they repeat it. And we had that a couple of times this weekend where I think, you know, some people may have gotten a little aggravated with me as they tend to do because they had been to places we had been and they start repeating the story. Now, I mentioned this before, the Shanley Hotel, which is in New York, is haunted for sure, for sure. We were there last year. We stayed overnight. We investigated the place. There's stuff going on there for sure. There is. And do I know who? Do I know why? No, not a clue. Did I get any answers or things that strictly pertain to any of the stories? No. But I do know that that place is active. There's something, there are multiple things there. But they give you a whole litany of stories when you go there. And it's one of those places where, you know, there was a mafia guy who was a hitman who stayed in one room on the second floor. A woman, you know, hung herself in the back bedroom. This person happened there, and it's like there's like 7 stories, and it's like, do you have any documentation for any of this that had happened? Well, no, we tried, we couldn't find it, but you know, I spoke to this guy and that guy, and yeah, it's true, and this person lived here since the beginning of time, and yeah, he'll verify it. It happened, and in a lot of these cases, and I'm not putting down mediums. I do believe that there are mediums that are legit. I believe it's a small portion of those who claim to be mediums. I just do, because I've met a bunch. I've been around ones that I think are legit because they've proven it by doing things that I just can't explain. But it's too easy in this field to just anoint yourself as something, you know? And a lot of people do that in this field. And I'm not calling anybody out. I'm not saying anybody specifically, but we're going to talk to John Zaffis about that tomorrow. We have talked to him about that before. He is a real demonologist. He doesn't promote himself or advertise himself as a demonologist because he doesn't have to. The guy has seen it all, done it all, been involved in cases and private cases since he was a teenager. So he doesn't, it's not on his business card. He doesn't wear a hat that says demonologist or, you know, a shirt with a cross or whatever. He is, you know. But you do see a lot of people that one day say, I think I'm a demonologist. I've done some research. I've read a couple of things online. I'm a demonologist now. Or I'm a haunted object expert. Or I'm a whatever. And it's just too easy to do in this field. Way too easy. And it's the same with stories about the paranormal. Lots of these places that have activity. I'm not saying they don't. But even they're not sure who or what or why. But it's there. And what happens to a lot of these places is medium after medium after medium after medium after medium after medium goes into these places, and they start telling who's there, why they're there, how they got there. And now they've got this whole litany of notes and pages of little Sally who was hit by a truck. And then there's Reverend Bob who fell off the roof while cleaning the gutter. And then there's the mass murderer, Harry, who down the road murdered 3 people. And then, I mean, it's just, come on, man. Again, show me some proof of this, and I'll be the first one to tell you at least give me that it happened in the area and I could get behind it. But if you got nothing to show me, then like we were talking to Dave Schrader the other night, and he flat out said, you got to have that brain that's wired that way. You've got to at least have some skepticism in your brain to say, really, maybe not, maybe not, maybe there's a reason, or maybe. And again, I'm not saying these places aren't haunted. I know they are. I've been in the Shanley. There's something there, or multiple people there. But I don't think you need to make up the stories of who they might be, or unless you're getting EVP or after EVP that says I'm Mary and I hang myself in the room back there and other interaction to verify that, then maybe I'll get behind it. But I've seen it too many times, man. These mediums come in and they just, again, it's like there are, and I'm not mentioning who or where, there are quote unquote ghost walks that are literally mediums that were paid or whatever to just walk by these areas and write a script. And these are these ghost walks, they speak it as the gospel. Harry Sue, who lived in blah, 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 that house there is rumored to have fallen down the stairs and broken her neck, and they buried her in the yard. Right there, that building, in that room in the corner. Great story. But how do I know that that's, no, it's not about judging. I don't judge anyone, and that's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is saying Hoover House, and I mentioned that for a reason, because assisted living was an assisted living place for a number of years. My mom was in assisted living before she passed. Unfortunately, for a lot of the elderly, that's the last stop on the train. You know what I mean? That's kind of where you go, and a lot of elderly people do pass in assisted living places, and so it's not impossible to believe that several elderly people probably passed in that building through the years, and they really don't document those. So, but there are 2 documented cases of the Hoover family who originally owned the building. It's there. They passed in the house in the same room. See that you get behind, but you don't need that either. You know what I mean? If it's active and things are happening and no one knows who and no one knows why, that's okay. You could, like I said, if you want to post and like, hey, this one got the name this, and a lot of people got the name Mary Smith in that room. We kind of did some research. There never was a Mary Smith that lived here, but that's okay. Mary Smith may have lived 2 doors down and was, murdered or died in her bed and whatever. And you know what I mean? So it's okay not to know. But, you don't always have to have, the suspect, the name, to do the research and have a building that's active. A lot of these places have been around for a long time. We all know that the land is older than the building. Stuff could have been there before that building was ever there, and people could have, settled the land, lived on the land, and stuff could have happened. I'm just saying, when it comes to mediums, I'm very, very sensitive when it comes to mediums, because there was even, I'm not going to mention who posted this either, but I'm not saying not are all bad. No, not are all bad. My parents weren't necessary. Oh, no, there's nice assisted living. I'm not saying they're bad at all. Some are very, very good. I've been to them. I've seen them. So I'm not saying all assisted livings are bad. I'm just saying that a lot of the elderly people pass in assisted living places. So the Hoover House could have some of that as well, is what I'm saying. But there was an article, somebody posted something, and Chris mentions this a lot. When you get into the paranormal, anybody says anything that's definitive, like this is absolute, written in stone, for sure, this is how it is, this is the way it is, this is how we know, that drives me bananas. So somebody posted this thing that said, it was from either Hans Holzer or his daughter, not sure which one, but they said something about the quote unquote modern ghost hunters relying on the gadgets, and that Hans relied on interviews and personal experiences and his medium. Now that's how a lot of these people investigated in the old days. Now that's John Zaffis. We were just talking about that, and we'll probably talk about it tomorrow as well. The Warrens did a lot of seances where they were, and they did a lot of just reel to reel recording with a microphone. So basically, that's the way the paranormal was. Mediums and flash photography and reel to reel recording. Doesn't make it right, doesn't make it the best. It just means that those were the tools that they had then, and that's why they did it that way. Well, now we're in 2022. We now have things that can measure changes in the environment. That's what people believe spirits do to an environment. They change it. So now we have things to actually measure that. And we have options potentially for spirits to interact with things if they can do so. So, this person, when she wrote this thing and posted this quote from Hans Holzer or his daughter, a person right underneath it said, okay, based on, because she made the comment of, a spirit would from 1889 would be afraid of something blinking and lighting up, that they may think it's going to hurt them or it's going to blow up because it's so strange to them. Not necessarily not true, but this person who commented underneath it said, okay, on the other end of that, I'm a stranger in the same house that you're talking about, dressed in modern clothing, right? And I'm talking now, if I'm a medium or a sensitive, that I can see and hear spirits and communicate with them. Well, that spirit may mistake that for witchcraft, because back in those days, that sort of thing was happening. So they might be afraid and be like, holy crap, well, look at the way this person looks. What are they saying they can do? Oh, hell no. They bringing the devil into my house or whatever. So you can't, there is no right, there is no wrong. That's what I'm trying to say here. Those days when they didn't have the type of equipment we have now, they used what options they had. That's like me saying the best way to operate is for you to drink down a bottle of whiskey and then me use a bone saw to cut your leg off, because that's the way they did it back then. That's the best way, the most efficient way. And the only way that works is for me to use a bone saw while you're awake and cut your leg off. What? Well, that's during the Civil War and stuff. Guess what? They didn't know any better. That's what they did. Why? It was their only option. That's all they knew. And it's the same thing with paranormal research, paranormal investigations. Back in those days, they didn't have all the tools and the people working on it, engineers and others working on these things and developing them. They had what they had. Real recorders. A lot of them worked with mediums. Were they real mediums or not? I don't know. But that's, again, you're talking two different times. So for anybody to make a statement that somebody from the 1800s, whatever, would be afraid and they would never work with, come on, man. Are you serious? It's like, I can make an argument for either. And I don't know if I'm right and I don't know if they're right. But you know what? I'm still going to try to do things the way we do things and see if I can get any interaction that way, and still with a recorder but I would never, even if I trusted the medium explicitly, I would never solely rely on a medium for my paranormal research, for my paranormal investigation. Whenever we do anything, whether it's in a building or in a private home, I would never just have the medium walk through and say, you heard what she said. This is what's here. I would take that information, just like we do at the Creeper Gallery with all the different people that Donna has reading those objects now. I would take that information, I would look at it, and I would go, okay, got that. I would interview the family, everybody in the family, what's going on, where's it going on, do the research of the building and the home and the property, Now I'm going in and my personal experiences and who I was able to connect with, maybe all of that goes into it. There's so much more that goes into that rather than one person, a medium walking through going, yeah. I've been with mediums. I've seen the really, really good ones, and even they're not 100% all the time. And I've seen the really, really bad ones, you know? And now in the age of TV, I mean, some just want to get their names out there and put on like a show. And it's like, and using everything you have in your, yeah, Carol, that's the idea. That's the whole idea. The whole idea is to be respectful, but to try to find a method, any method, including a medium, to try to connect with that person. You know, whether a good spirit, a bad spirit, a child, anybody, you want to try to connect with them. And I don't care who you are, this is the modern age. Anything you do, how we speak, the terms that we use could turn off a spirit from the 1800s or whatever. You know what I mean? The cars we arrive in, I mean, let's face it, if you really want to dive deep into this, anything could kind of like them go, whoa, what is going on here? That person's walking around with a light on his hand like that. So come on. Well, let's get real. I saw that article. I got so pissed off and I wanted to respond to it. And I was glad that the one guy did and he said what he said. And then the person who posted the article said, well, let's all just agree that it's about respect and blah, blah, blah. Blah. And well, you made an argument originally. And now that someone contradicted that, now you're saying it's all about respect and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Okay. Let's just all say that nobody knows for sure how the best method to communicate and to reach these spirits and what they're seeing from whatever time frame they're from, what lens they're using. Is it the 1889 lens? Is it a more modern lens because they've been to the spirit? Who knows? You know what I mean? So be more everybody should be more kind. I mean, you're working with people, people that have been here. That's the whole thing. And it's just about trying to connect with them. I was watching my favorite show, you guys know, is Ghost Adventures, and I'm watching this house call thing that they're doing now. And I watched this last one with the demon in the house, and what is going on here? I mean, I love those guys. I love their show, but man, oh man, do I cringe at some of the stuff that I see on TV and what's going on. And it's just like, I mean, you're talking about a demon here, a demon, not just a negative spirit or, so a demon, and I'm just like, I'm watching that episode and I love that show, but sometimes they even do stuff that makes me shake my head and go, what is going on here? Yeah, well, we try, Maria, we definitely try. And, I don't preach to people about the way they do things. I do respect everybody's opinion. And if you were to tell me that you worked with a medium every day and she or he is dead on accurate and you trust them and they've gotten everything and helped people, I would believe you. I would say you're fortunate enough to work with one of the mediums out there who are credible and the real deal. Good for you. I would hope that you're also using some other tools to on your approach and your investigation and your methods of helping people. But if that were true, I wouldn't deny it. I wouldn't say it was fake. I wouldn't say you were a liar. I've seen real mediums, but I've also seen other mediums that have told people there are effing demons in their home and trapped them in their bedrooms, and it was a friggin' lie. I've seen it. I've seen a lot of mediums making things a lot worse, and other paranormal groups. So there is no absolute, there is no handbook for this stuff. It is about being logical, being compassionate, being skeptical. It's about all the above. You gotta have all that. And that's why You need more people who are just not you. I'm wired. I'm me. I have my way of thinking, and sometimes I can't see beyond. That's why I have Chris. That's why I have Tanya. That's why I have Kenny. So if I hit that wall and I think I'm being narrow-minded, I have three other voices in my ear saying, "We don't think so. We think it might be this. We think you should think of that. We think it should be approached that way." You have to have checks and balances, you know. Anyway, I'll end it 10 minutes short tonight. Tomorrow night is the legend, the legend. You know who I'm talking about? John Zaffis, who for me, even though I love all these paranormal shows and I watch them all, John Zaffis for me, if I came up and I have experienced some things or come across some things that I didn't know how to approach or I didn't know the next step to take, it's happened. I call John and I message him first. Hey, can I call you? Oh, is it? Oh, yeah, it's Tuesday. Sorry, I keep thinking this is Monday. I don't know why. Tuesday. I'm sorry. It's Tuesday night. I call John. I message him. I let him kind of know. Can I talk to you about this? And more times than not, he'll call me and we'll have a conversation. And I may be thinking wrong direction, and I listen to him and I go, you know what? You're right. Or he'll agree with me, and I have the confidence to move on. And he is the guy. I would go to him for anything that I thought was above my head. 100%. Haunted Collector, yeah. But I mean, that was just a TV show that, he did on travel. But the guy, more than just Ed and Lorraine's nephew, a lot of people don't know that. John Zaffis has been in the field helping people, working on cases since he was a teenager. He's dealt with exorcisms and all different kinds of hauntings and cases and objects. So that's the guy for me, top of the food chain. Always. You guys know that. Why do you think I have him on so much? Because I can listen to him and talk to him every day of the week and learn something new every time I talk to him. So Tuesday night, 8 p.m., John Zaffis. If you have any questions, it's an open forum. We really don't have anything planned as far as the discussion. I did ask him to bring on 2 or 3 of his haunted objects from his museum, which I was very fortunate enough to visit that museum, thanks to Chris, and get to tour and see everything. And oh my God, maybe one day we'll do a live from there. I'll get him to agree to let us do a live feed from, not an investigation, because I don't think he would do that. I think just a live stream so that I could show the museum itself and then maybe interview him in his office or something so you guys can see his office. That might be cool. But anyway, Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. Thank you guys as usual for watching. I'm not sure how it's going to go this week. We are interviewing John on Tuesday. We're really busy. We have the event at the Mine Saturday night, which is Cody and Satori, the paranormal couple with their haunted objects, sold out. And then Sunday, we're actually visiting a haunted farmhouse that we're doing a walkthrough before we do the live investigation in June. So lots going on. And we're going to try to get back to the Creeper Gallery because I know Donna's doing her next auction soon, and we need to investigate all those dolls. So we're got to get there. We'll figure it out. But anyway, no power. That sucks. Anyway, have a good night, everyone. And we will see you on Tuesday with the legend, John Zaffis. All right, guys. Have a good night.